Welcome to the Uplevel Your Future No More Hiding Summit. You will discover innovative talks for personal and business expansion with leading experts. Today, be ready to be infused with hope, strength, and confidence and find powerful direction to lead you on a path of success. Join our world-class speakers and experience inspiration, hope for your future, and an elevation of your desires. Inspired Choices Network, our summit hosts, are excited to have you here.
Welcome and hello. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to talk about turning failures into stepping stones as a path to empowerment. So, talking about something that we all experience at some point in our lives, failure. It's something most of us try to avoid, yet it can be one of life's greatest teachers. Failure often feels like a setback or a roadblock. But what if I reminded you that failure can actually be one of the most empowering tools on your journey to success? I would like to explore going forward how turning failures into stepping stones can empower you to achieve more than you ever thought possible. Let's start by discussing the way we think about failure. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that failure is something negative, something to be avoided, and therefore then something that we have been conditioned to think that any imperfection reflects negatively on us as individuals, which then could prevent us from embracing opportunities to learn and grow from. What if we were able to reframe that thinking? When we experience failure, we're given the gift of learning. So let's take a moment to consider the most successful people in history. Whether it's Thomas Edison, who famously said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Or Oprah Winfrey, who was told that she was unfit for television at the beginning of her career. Neither one of them shied away from failure. Instead, they embraced it as a critical part of their journey. So the first step in turning failure into a stepping stone is shifting your mindset. You're not failing, you are learning. Each mistake teaches you something valuable, whether it's about the situation, about you, or just about yourself, about others, or just about yourself. So once we can view failure as a teacher, it can lose its sting and then transform it into an opportunity for growth. When we fail, it's also really important to go deeper than just the surface level mistakes or mistake. We need to analyze why things didn't work out and what we can do differently next time. So this process requires awareness and an open mind. Ask yourself questions like, what could I have done differently? Was there something outside my control that contributed to my failure? What strengths did I use and which areas do I need to develop? It takes the ability to really look at yourself and be honest. Take responsibility for the process, all of it, giving yourself permission to not be the victim of your mistake. By extracting lessons from your failures, you begin to build a roadmap for success. Each failure then becomes a stepping stone because it provides you with new knowledge to apply to your future efforts. Consider how inventors, scientists, or entrepreneurs approach failure. They don't take it personally. They see it as data. They try, fail, assess, and try again with new information they've gathered. The more feedback they receive, the closer they get to success. So think of failure as feedback. It's not an indictment of your abilities. It's simply information you can use to improve. So we live in a results-driven world, often focusing so much on the outcome that we forget to celebrate the effort. Effort, your energy, courage, and resilience is what ultimately leads to success. So imagine, if you will, for a moment that you've worked really hard on a project and it didn't turn out as you hoped. How often do we beat ourselves up for the result without ever acknowledging the effort we put in? You might have taken a big risk, stepped out of your comfort zone, or even tackled a new challenge. That alone in itself deserves a recognition. By celebrating your effort, you empower yourself to keep going. You reinforce the belief that trying is valuable regardless of the immediate outcome. This practice builds self-confidence, which is crucial when you encounter future obstacles. Remember, the courage to try and fail is what eventually leads to success. You can't hit the target if you don't take the shot. Be your own cheerleader. Sorry, I am my biggest cheerleader, and I needed to do that for me right now, because my biggest fear was going to be failing in giving this talk and even talking about failure. And I realize that as I keep going, that I don't have a lot necessarily of my own personal failures, because my failures are my failures and your failures are your failures. And so I want to help you turn your failures into a stepping stone for greatness, because I really have, that's what I've been doing. That's been one of my life purposes. So I know that failure can be disheartening, and it's natural to feel like giving up after a setback. But here's where persistence comes in. Persistence is the bridge between failure and success. And it's all about bridges. Building as many bridges as you possibly can for yourself will guarantee more success. So take any great achievement, whether it's in science, sports, business, or personal development, and what's behind it? Persistence. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series was rejected by 12 publishers before finally being accepted. So imagine what this world would be like without the Potter universe if she had stopped trying after the first, the second, or even her third rejection. When we face failure, we often get discouraged because we expect success to happen so quickly. As we know, many of life's most worthwhile achievements have required persistence through multiple failures. Every failure you persist through brings you closer to your goal. Persistence empowers you to keep moving forward despite adversity. It teaches you resilience, which is a skill that not only benefits you in your career, but in every aspect of your life. The more persistent you are, the less control failure can have over you. So when we fail, because we do, it's not just about trying again. It's about trying differently. It isn't doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. As most of us know, is the definition of insanity. The secret is using failure as an opportunity. So let's say you failed at a project at work, a personal goal, or in a communication in your relationship. Taking the lessons from your failure and using them to make smarter decisions moving forward is a skill and a strength. Being willing to pivot and adjust your strategy to take a different approach is crucial to adaptability, because it keeps you flexible in the face of challenges. The more adaptable you are, the more empowered you become. Life will throw you unexpected situations all along your path and your way. But if you've learned how to adjust and refine your approach Through failure, nothing will seem impossible. Taking a deep breath. Ooh, always a good thing. Always a way to help pivot, to give you a moment, getting back into yourself, anchoring. Because one of the greatest benefits of turning failure into a stepping stone, one of the greatest benefits of turning failure into a stepping stone is that it builds emotional resilience. Each time you bounce back from a setback, you become stronger and more capable of handling life's challenges. Emotional resilience is the ability to remain positive and focused, even in the face of difficulty. It's the power to stay on course when things aren't going your way. Failure can make you question your worth, but bouncing back from it reminds you of your inner strength. The more often you face failure and rise again, the more you realize that you have what it takes to succeed in any area of your life. This realization is deeply empowering because it shows that no matter what happens, you will find a way to overcome it. So what does it mean to turn failures into stepping stones? It means seeing failure not as an endpoint, but as a part of the process. It means learning, growing, and becoming stronger each time you fall down. It's about building persistence, celebrating your effort, and adapting when needed, and developing the emotional resilience that will empower you for life. So remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a vital part of the journey toward it. By embracing failure and turning it into a stepping stone, you unlock your full potential and empower yourself to achieve more than you ever thought possible. Well, okay, so that completes my talk on failure. And so I have done a great big huge fail. My talk was not 25 minutes. My talk was 12. I still have 15 minutes more. So I will keep going. Of course, this was one of my biggest fears. And so I am so grateful that I will demonstrate pivoting. And I will talk about how resilience and how the belief in myself and in just knowing. And so I have multiple options here. I can start crying and beating myself up and demonstrating all of the things that I just talked about to avoid. So I'm just going to continue to talk about strength and that I didn't fail and that I want so to anchor in the truth of knowing that who I am and that I am capable of filling silence, of filling dead air, of filling, talking about life. And let's talk actually about life. Let's talk about the four agreements. Let's talk about why I am and why I do call myself a communication expert, because so often we do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, which looks like taking things personally and making assumptions and taking things personally. We make so many assumptions about what someone else is actually thinking about themselves or even about ourselves, that then we take it personally, which then informs how we then communicate. And so I have failed so many times in communicating because I believe that someone already thinks a certain way about me, that someone is then also, or I try and second guess what they're going to say, which then does not allow me to be present and So often, just, you know what? I'm going to take a breath because that's also the beautiful thing. You can always take a moment to pivot, take a moment to be like, you know what? This is not what I was planning for. And therefore, then I just need a second. And we think we need to know what we need to say at every moment. Recently, in a conversation that I had with my husband, I needed to take a moment because he had asked a question and I didn't readily have an answer, or at least didn't readily have an answer that I thought was one that he needed, or thought that one that was coherent. And so I just took a moment and said, I keep saying that, moment, moment, moment. I took a breath and was able to then gather my thoughts, and then was able to say, I need a moment. I want to give you an answer that makes sense. I want to give you an answer that I think is is what you want, not because I want to give you what you want, although I want to give you an answer that is what you want. I'm assuming that I'm making an assumption that you understand what I'm saying because I am no different than you. I communicate, I fumble over my own words. Clearly, I am doing this right now, and I could look at this as as a failure, or I can look at it as something for me to learn from. Clearly, I need to have more prepared. And so next time I will learn from this, or we'll do something different. I'm just going to say that. I commit to doing something different next time. And so with this time, I spoke about 5 months ago on this very platform, and I had worked myself into such a frenzy that I I was nauseous and that it wasn't enjoyable or fun. And now I'm having fun. I'm going to be my biggest cheerleader and say, okay, I absolutely failed and did not come up or have prepared enough of a talk to complete to keep my 25 minutes. So I'm pivoting. And I'm going to talk about something again. I'm going to anchor in the truth that stop making assumptions and stop taking everything personally. And so the fourth agreement is always doing your best. And so this is actually what I am being called into right here, right now, doing the best that I possibly can. I could be what is the word? Shying away, being scared, you know, emoting in a way that is not going to make me proud. And so right now I am very proud of myself for pivoting. And I'm not the first, nor will I be the last, nor will this be the last time that I fail. And I love the universe. I love this lesson that I am being given right now. And the fact that I'm just being so calm about it. Wow. Could you imagine what your life would be like if you were as calm as I am right now in the face of a huge failure? The, the me of 5 months ago, or even the me of yesterday, would be sitting here crying and just apologizing for not showing up the way that I thought I was. I truly did. I'd gone over it so many times, and I guess I was just slower in my presentation, and here I am. Sorry, I was looking at my producer, and she already told me, talk about a personal story. How much more can I actually talk about myself? Um, What I've learned from this is to have more to say in the future than I actually think is necessary. What I've also learned from this is to not beat myself up, to really look at and take responsibility for my failure. I apologize for letting you down, for letting myself down. Certainly was not my intention, and I'm just going to take responsibility for my fail. So therefore, then it'll actually be a win. Me taking responsibility for failing is actually a win. So when I am complete, and then I do burst into tears because they're coming. It's okay to let yourself down. It's okay. I'm human, and I'm allowing myself to be human. And one of my purposes for being here on the planet at this point in time is to talk about failure and to be in failure. Wow. Oh, Sharyn. So thank you for supporting me in my colossal fail. Or actually, is it? Is it a huge fail? It's about me being vulnerable, and it's about me demonstrating that it's okay to fail. Although, did I really? I mean, in the big picture of life, did I really fail? So I let myself down. Okay, so I'm picking myself up and moving on. And I've learned so much for myself from this experience right now. Certainly not what I thought I was going to be experiencing. I thought I was going to be done at 25 after the hour and be like, yay, me, I completed, I did it. And you know what? I still am. I still am. So thank you in supporting me and being on this journey for the past 25 minutes with me. And I hope that this has given you some grace for yourself. I hope that this has given you the opportunity for you to show up and fail. Although, do you actually really fail? Because you don't actually really fail. Every experience is a learning opportunity, and boy, have I just gotten it in the bucket loads. So thank you. And I am so entirely grateful. And I'm going to give my conclusion one more time. So I just turn this to a stepping stone. So it means seeing my failure not as an end point, but as a whole part of the process, learning and growing and becoming stronger every single time I fall down. And I just fell down. So I'm going to be persistent. I'm going to celebrate my effort. And I'm going to remember that failure is not the opposite of success, and that it's a vital part of my journey. And by embracing failure and turning it into a stepping stone, I have unlocked my potential, and I am now empowering myself to achieve more than I ever thought was possible. So thank you.
Thank you for joining this motivating talk on the Up-Level Your Future No More Hiding Summit. Inspired Choices Network and our expert speakers are excited to connect with you and learn about your hopes and desires to lead you to greater success. If you would like to learn more about everything Inspired Choices Network offers, including future summits, please email us at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.